The latest unrest is arguably the biggest challenge of Andry Rajaoelina's long political career. The 51-year-old first came to power in 2009, leading a popular movement and benefiting from a coup that ousted Marc Ravalomanana. He was re-elected for a third term in 2023, but it wasn't without controversy. The opposition decided to boycott it over a citizenship issue, and many voters turned away. He's always promised to make things better, but despite holding the reins of government since 2018, many believe he's made little difference.
We don't want a coup d'etat and we don't want to crush the government. We're just asking for our rights. We're asking for water and electricity. We're asking for our fundamental rights, that's all.
The Indian Ocean island is by far the world's leading producer of vanilla, one of the most expensive spices after saffron. And while many people have profited from this, the vast majority of its population, estimated to be roughly 30 million, have been left out. According to the World Bank, up to 80% of the population lived below the poverty line last year. Demonstrators insist that their grievances are valid and their protests are legitimate and peaceful.
We were peaceful, we were singing, we were chanting, we were saying, give us our rights, the right to live, really. But then some people took advantage of it, and there were others who were rather provocative.
The protesters are still calling on the entire government to step down. Not only are they demanding Rajaoelina's resignation, but also the dissolution of the Election Commission, the Senate and the country's top court. Rajaoelina has ignored these demands for now and claims he remains the best man to address the roots of the nation's prevailing challenges. David Mbidi, CGTN.
To Morocco now, where state media says 2 people were killed on Wednesday when police officers opened fire on a group of people attempting to storm a police station near the coastal city of Agadir. Demonstrations have rocked Morocco for 5 straight days. They're being directed by a youth group calling itself Gen Z 212, which has been rallying for social justice reforms. The country's interior ministry says more than 400 people have been arrested and nearly 300 injured, including police officers, during the protests. The ministry also reported incidents of vandalism, with protesters storming government offices, bank branches and shops. Several Moroccan cities, including Casablanca, Tangier and Tétouan, have witnessed the protests. For more on this, we earlier spoke to Jervin Naidoo, a political analyst at Oxford Economics.
Yeah, so it's quite a tough time in Madagascar. We don't often hear about Madagascan politics. It's a very poor country, and the main concern is that Gen Z, particularly the youth who are involved in this process, are tired of poor governance, corruption, and the quality of life. So they really are pressuring the government to make changes. And even though the leader in charge has sacked pretty much the government, they still are quite upset. They want changes now, and they feel like government's not moving close enough. So one of our expectations is that the unrest is likely to continue over the next couple of weeks. And I think government may form some sort of dialogue with citizens, particularly the youth, to find out what do they want exactly. But that's what we kind of expect in the coming weeks. Morocco, a place that's not often impacted by social unrest. These are the biggest protests since the Hirak movement of 2015, 2016. Again, young people are tired. Mainly the youth organized, they call the Gen Z 212. 212 is the country code for Morocco. They're mainly organized around issues of poor service delivery and corruption. And they've been protesting since Saturday. We're now into the 5th day of unrest. I think it's going to increase. 2 people were killed yesterday and 400 arrested. What I do expect is protests to continue. And I do think government are going to respond by either sacking high officials in government, possibly, or in the civil service, to show the Gen Zs that they mean business about dealing with unrest. Also, the protesters are quite concerned that the government's already heavily spending for the FIFA World Cup in 2030, but are ignoring some of their basic service demands. So I think tensions will sort of simmer for the next couple of weeks, and the government will act in some form of accountability by firing high-level civil servants or someone attached to corruption to show that they are listening. And I think it's a warning sign for African leaders. We've seen unrest in Kenya this year. Last year we saw in Uganda, a little bit now on the continent. Also, broadly speaking, we've seen protests also in Indonesia, the Philippines, and most recently in Nepal as well by Gen Zs. So with Africa's youth bulge, large youth population, the access to internet, and the consistent amount of developmental issues we have, it tells our African leaders that, listen, if you don't address these issues or find some way to deal with it, once the social pressures build, there will be a tipping point where youth organize via social media and quickly and effectively, and they can create this kind of movement or this force that destabilizes the country.